Hi, Harvey Bloodline. This week we're doing our own cooking show. So tonight for dinner, I am having ham and bean soup and cornbread. And I will be showing you how I make that. Now, first off, we need our ingredients. We have our beans mix, but it's a nice mix of all different kinds of beans, as you can see. And then we have an onion. We have my ham broth. And then I have a big ham bone, which I used to make this ham broth, and I took the meat off it, and that's already in my soup. So I'm going to tell you really briefly how I make that. I take a cup of these beans and I put them in a pot, and I pour usually 3 or 4 times as much water as I have beans. I bring it to a boil, and then I let it simmer for about an hour, and the beans are ready to cook. Or you can soak them overnight and do the same thing. I used just a half an onion in my soup because I'm making a small batch because there's only 4 of us. And the ham broth I made by boiling the ham bone with extra meat until, a couple hours, till the meat fell off the bone. And then I took all the broth and put it in the fridge until it was chilled, and I took all the fat off the top, and then I pressure canned the ham broth. And isn't that beautiful? Beautiful ham broth. Okay. Now I've actually already put all of these ingredients together, and my soup has been in the crock pot all day long. You can see here I've got nice big chunks of ham that I'll cut up. I've got all of these delicious beans in here. And it's going to be delicious. Oh, I wish you could smell it through the camera, because it's amazing. All I did was take my beans, I drained them, I poured the beans in the crock pot, I put in a quart of this ham broth, a half of a chopped up onion, and then I just threw my frozen ham, which was left over from the ham bone, I threw it in here, and I've had it cooking on low for about 4 or 5 hours. And I've just got to cut up the meat and it'll be ready to cook. Now, for my, this recipe calls for 1½ cups of flour, which I'm going to dump in my pan, 3/4 of a cup of yellow cornmeal, and then it calls for 1/4 of a cup of sugar, but I like more sugar, so I put in almost a ½ a cup of sugar. And then after that, put in a little bit of salt. Not a whole lot, because I have high blood pressure, which calls for 1 tablespoon. There's one reason why they're so nice and light and fluffy. I'm going to add 2 large eggs, purchased from a friend of mine I work with. And then 1 whole cup of milk. And I use 2% here, because that's all I had in the fridge. And then I'm going to mix that up a little bit, make sure those eggs are a little bit incorporated. Then I'm going to add a ½ a cup of melted butter. And I use real butter. It's better for you than margarine. Looks really good. Now I'll prep my pan, and I just use some spray oil, and then just put smooth that out a little bit. Nothing fancy here. And then I'm going to put this in the oven on 350 degrees for about ½ an hour. It is in the oven, and then we wait. Okay, now we see that the cornbread's out of the oven, and I just slip a little knife in there and it comes out clean. So our cornbread is done. The soup has been transferred into this beautiful crock pot, and I'm just going to cut this into slices, and we like to serve this, of course, with butter, and we like to serve it with syrup over the top of it. Tastes really yummy and sweet. Just kind of go around the edges a little bit. And there you go. Beautiful cornbread.